I'm directing the U.S. military to lead an emergency mission to establish a temporary pier in the Mediterranean on the coast of Gaza that can receive large shipments carrying food, water, medicine, and temporary shelters. No U.S. boots will be on the ground. A temporary pier will enable a massive increase in the amount of humanitarian assistance getting into Gaza every day.
So today, as I speak, U.S. President Joe Biden has spoken. It was his State of the Union address. The most interesting aspect for me was his announcement on Gaza, that how the U.S. military is going to set up a temporary port in Gaza to resume the supply of food and other essential items. Now, that was interesting. But to me, there were a few observations that I would like to share with you. So one observation was that U.S. finally admitted that they are nothing but cowards and they cannot take on Israel. Because as you can see in his speech, he's literally pleading to Israel. As if like Israel was the paymaster for USA to say, look, do not question my Israeli credential. I have been the biggest supporter of Israeli president that America has ever had. So please, but please look after the civilians. This he's saying in the same vein that he's acknowledging that more than 30,000 people, most of them children and women, have been killed by Israel. So what kind of superpower are you? The fact that you have been forced to set up a temporary port to carry out the supply mission for Palestinians who are in dire condition is because Israelis have not listened to you. Even in this State of the Union address, he is pleading to Israel that please allow the aids to enter Gaza. And Israel has been absolutely turning a blind eye to American request. It's despicable. It's disgusting to see the way the so-called superpower and civilized world have reacted to the biggest human tragedy, that we have seen in our living memory. How are we going to call ourselves superpower? What kind of superpower you have to be that a tiny country like Israel, who survives on your doles, survives on your aids, survives on your military support, is not ready to listen to you? You can't enter Gaza without Israel's permission. This tragedy has done two things. It has smashed the myth of, the Western countries being the brand ambassadors of democracy and civility and civilized, the world. And the other thing that, they are the superpowers. They are not the superpowers. In the same speech, he's warning Yemen and Houthis that we will launch another more strikes against you if you don't mend your ways. Yeah, it's easy to issue that kind of warning to Houthis who are almost dead, and who have suffered a lot after years of military strikes by Saudis. It's easy to give that kind of warning to or threats to Houthis. Can you do the same to Israel? You really have to be shameless and heartless person to say that 30,000 people, 30,000 people haven't committed suicide, have they? If you're saying that 30,000 people, mostly children and women, have been killed, who has killed them? Name. Why can't you name that Israel has killed them? But his main concern is to convince Israel that how he is the biggest supporter of that country, of that regime, Netanyahu regime. I don't know what it is. Is he being blackmailed by Mossad, or is he being blackmailed by Israeli current establishment? I have no idea. But I've never seen, the myth that America is the superpower and is the most powerful country in the world, that is broken now. If you cannot act decisively, even in the face of this catastrophic, human tragedy, then you have no business to call yourself superpower. Anyway, these were my observations. You may agree, you may disagree. I want you to watch his entire speech on Gaza. And let me know with your comments as to what you think of it. Thank you very much. God bless you all. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do so. Thank you very much.
This crisis began on October 7th with a massacre by a terrorist group called Hamas, as you all know. 1,200 innocent people women and girls, men and boys slaughtered after enduring sexual violence. The deadliest day for the Jewish people since the Holocaust, and 250 hostages taken. Here in this chamber tonight are families whose loved ones are still being held by Hamas. I pledge to all the families that we will not rest until we bring every one of your loved ones home. We also We will also work around the clock to bring home Evan and Paul, Americans being unjustly detained by the Russians and others around the world. Israel has the right to go after Hamas. Hamas ended this conflict by releasing hostages, laying down arms, could end it by releasing the hostages, laying down arms, and surrendering those responsible for October 7th. But Israel has Israel has an added burden because Hamas hides and operates among the civilian population like cowards under hospitals, daycare centers, and all the like. Israel also has a fundamental responsibility, though, to protect innocent civilians in Gaza. This war has taken a greater toll on innocent civilians than all previous wars in Gaza combined. More than 30,000 Palestinians have been killed, most of whom are not Hamas. Thousands and thousands of innocents, women and children, girls and boys, also orphaned. Nearly 2 million more Palestinians under bombardment or displacement. Homes destroyed, neighborhoods in rubble, cities in ruin. Families without food, water, medicine. It's heartbreaking. I've been working nonstop to establish an immediate ceasefire that would last for 6 weeks to get all the prisoners released, all the hostages released, to get the hostages home and ease the intolerable and humanitarian crisis and build toward an enduring, something more enduring. The United States has been leading international efforts to get more humanitarian assistance to Gaza. Tonight, I'm directing the U.S. military to lead an emergency mission to establish a temporary pier in the Mediterranean on the coast of Gaza that can receive large shipments carrying food, water, medicine, and temporary shelters. No U.S. boots will be on the ground. A temporary pier will enable a massive increase in the amount of humanitarian assistance getting into Gaza every day. And Israel must do its part. Israel must allow more aid into Gaza to ensure humanitarian workers aren't caught in the crossfire. And they're announcing they're going to have a crossing in northern Gaza. For the leadership of Israel, I say this: humanitarian assistance cannot be a secondary consideration or a bargaining chip. Protecting and saving innocent lives has to be a priority. As we look to the future, the only real solution to the situation is a two-state solution over time. And I say this as a lifelong supporter of Israel. My entire career, no one has a stronger record with Israel than I do. I challenge any of you here. I'm the only American president of Israel in wartime. But there is no other path that guarantees Israel's security and democracy. There is no other path that guarantees Palestinians can live in peace with peace and dignity. And there's no other path that guarantees peace between Israel and all of its neighbors, including Saudi Arabia, with whom I'm talking. Creating stability in the Middle East also means containing the threat posed by Iran. That's why I built a coalition of more than a dozen countries to defend international shipping and freedom of navigation in the Red Sea. I've ordered strikes to degrade the Houthi capability and defend U.S. forces in the region. As Commander-in-Chief, I will not hesitate to direct further measures to protect our people and our military personnel.